What's going to happen if I stick a piece of bread in that juicer? The juice is going to get clogged up and start shaking it, and it's going to be really tough on that machine. Your body is that juicer. When you eat the things that are going to go through as easy as possible, you're conserving that energy as simple as possible. And that's what we need to be eating. Another thing we need to understand is food combining. The way you eat. If you eat a watermelon with an almond, that's not a good combination. That's not a good food combination at all. There's a combination chart here that talks about the amounts of liquid in each food. A pear and an apple have a similar amount of liquid time. An apple and a banana don't. So if you eat an apple and a banana, even though it's a good food source, the way you eat it, you're actually using more energy than you have to. You're wasting energy. As your energy's going down, your power's going down, and what's going up? Your obstruction. Now, if you don't know about food combining, that's one thing, but now you know. So just get a simple food combining chart, and they'll help you learn about food combining. The other thing that we don't do, and we need to do more of, is what I call, our Creator built us with an enzyme in our saliva. And we're supposed to mix our food with that enzyme properly to break down the food before it comes to our body. Dr. St. Louis Estes, an author of a book called Raw Food and Health, stated years ago, anytime we eat food that's not properly emasculated, it ferments and putrefies in our system. We need to do something that we don't do. We need to mix our food with the saliva. And how did I learn this? I had 2 dogs. And I would put the food on the floor, and before I got up, the food would be gone. I said, I never saw somebody eat so fast, until I would eat with people. We need to chew our foods. We need to mix that food with our saliva, and people don't do that. Think about how much energy you save when that food is liquefied before it gets in your stomach. Or if that food's whole in your stomach, how much energy you waste. I'll tell you, I met many people, I met many dogs in my life. I've never yet, and I guarantee most people in this room haven't, seen a dog bark with food in their mouth. But I see people talking with food in their mouth all the time. We need to concentrate and chew our food and liquefy it in our mouth, as they say, chew your drinks and drink your meals, so it conserves that energy. So what we need to do, and blending food is another thing, blending our food. If you don't want to chew it, at least blend it, and then you can swirl it around your mouth to mix it with your saliva. We need to make sure we do that. So the first part is getting the most nutrients. We know how to do that. We do that by, number 1, taking enzymes that help us get those nutrients, and number 2, eating those nutritious foods. The second thing we need to do is conserve as much energy as possible. Now we know how to do that. We do that by either doing juices and blended food, or making sure we chew our food well enough, or following correct food combining, or a combination of all of that. Now the last one is keeping the environment of the body as clean as possible. Keeping the environment of the body as clean as possible. Now what does this mean? This means 2 things. The first thing it means is intestinal flora. There's good bacteria and bad bacteria. That's what intestinal flora is about. Good bacteria and bad bacteria. So doctors will give us antibiotics, which means against life. Probiotics means for life. We need to make sure we have good, healthy, good amount of healthy intestinal flora, bacteria. When we eat an acidic diet and we eat foods that we shouldn't be eating, what happens is it creates an environment for diseases to multiply and grow, because it adds to the unhealthy bacteria. When we have a healthy system with good, that's why I recommend probiotics for people. The probiotics we can take, they sell some here, I recommend those. I don't recommend many supplements. I recommend enzymes, I recommend probiotics, and the next thing I recommend is the other part to keeping the environment of the body clean. It's chlorophyll. Chlorophyll cleans the system, because the quality of the blood determines the condition of our health. And when people have toxic blood, they're going to be sick. What is toxic blood? Toxic blood is blood that is missing the oxygen that it needs. It's reduced amount of oxygen. Dr. Otto Warburg, a Nobel Peace winner, can we call it? A Nobel Peace winner stated years ago, cancer can only thrive in a non-oxidated environment. Cancer can only thrive in a non-oxidated environment. But what's the bloodstream with low oxygen is going to create an environment for cancer and all diseases to thrive. From candida to cancer and every stage in between. Chlorophyll is that clean liquid oxygen that's the blood of the plant that we can ingest, and it helps clean up the system. You get this from things like wheatgrass, from salad greens, from sprouts, and so on. These things help clean up the environment of the body. So we need to have more chlorophyll in our diets. This is why I recommend things like E3 Live, which is a liquid algae. It gives us tremendous amounts of chlorophyll. Or wheatgrass juice, or other sprout juices, or other green sprouts, or even salad greens. We need these greens more in our diet. But if we cannot get these greens, a green powder, a superfood, a barley grass, a synergy, or one of the powders they have here, these things are great when we can't get the actual fresh greens. So other than those enzymes, probiotics, the greens, and so on, I don't recommend too many other supplements unless somebody needs them. This is what's become a big problem today. Many people are being told to take things, not because they need it, but because it's making somebody money who's selling it to them. I got into this because I was very sick, and I know how it feels to be sick and live with disease, and I don't want to see people go through that. I want to see people get well again. I don't have an easy life traveling all over, but I enjoy my life so much because people are getting helped. And I want to help people as much as possible. But it's sad to say that there are other people getting into this. They're telling people, you need this, this, and this, without truly knowing they do. There's many ideas of what we might need, but I'm not going to tell you to take a nutrient because the last 10 people I've worked with needed it. There's one true way to tell what we need as an individual, each individual of us need. The blood is the messenger of the body, and a simple blood test can reveal exactly what nutrients we're missing, and then we can look for food to get them, and if the food's not working, we can look at a whole food in a supplement form, and if that's not working, then we can look at some other supplements. But I'm not going to recommend you take these other supplements until I see your blood work and see what you're missing. And it's a big problem we have today when people are told they need things just out of the blue, and people are giving them money. Maybe they need it, but maybe they're wasting their money and their time. This is a very interesting thing to understand. To get yourself sick, you have to work very hard and do a lot. To stay healthy, you have to do very little. You have to do very little to stay healthy. But unfortunately, if we work so hard to get ourselves sick, we have to work even harder to get ourselves well again. But once we're well again, we have to do very little to stay there. We can complicate it and do a lot more to get ourselves sick again. The choice is yours. We have the opportunity to do that. So to simplify this in 4 steps, the first step is eliminate the cause. Eliminate what's causing the problem, and the problem will begin to go away. Now, it doesn't only have to be food. I don't care if you're eating the best diet out there. If you're going every day to a job that you don't like, you're not going to be as healthy as you could be. So we need to eliminate the stress from our life. That's step number 1. Step number 2 is cleanse and rebuild from the damage you've already created. Now this can technically be 2 steps, but I'm going to say it's 1 step. Because when you're cleansing, you're automatically detoxifying. And you're automatically rebuilding as well. Now there are many different ways to cleanse. There's colonics, there's enemas, there's massage therapy, there's all these different ways to cleanse. But the best way is free and simple, and everyone loves it. It's called sleep. I just don't know why, and I'm still trying to figure out if people love it so much, why they cut it short every single night. They're not getting enough. So we need to cleanse and rebuild from that damage you're doing. When you're sleeping, your blood is automatically being cleansed. However, if you eat right before you go to sleep, it's not being cleansed. So the times you eat your food are a very important part of that second step of cleansing and rebuilding. You know, we have times to eat at the Hippocrates Health Institute. They give 2 meals a day as the ideal. I have found through my research 2 meals a day is ideal. You can do green drinks all day, but 2 meals a day is ideal. And even the scriptures say 2 meals a day is ideal. It even tells us those times that are ideal. The middle of the day is more ideal than right before you go to sleep or right when you wake up. So we want to keep that as the second part. Now, cleanse and rebuild. Now, another thing we need to talk about when we talk about cleansing is there's a problem today with the amount of sugar people eat. And the fruit today is not the same thing as it was years ago, like when Oliver wrote this book and recommended a diet based on fruit.